During the COVID-19 lockdown, I'm replaying some of my older, more popular videos. Hi, today I'm going to cut a stub twin mortise and tenon joint. It offers a couple of advantages. Firstly, you double the glue area that you would have if you just had a single tenon. And secondly, the edge of the mortises, the outside mortises, is closer to the edge of the workpiece, so there's less area for a gap to develop at the joint line. I've chosen this mortise chisel because it is roughly 1/5 of the width of our component. That will give us a shoulder, a tenon, a middle gap, a tenon and another shoulder. Now we can set the mortise gauge to the width of that chisel. First marking I need to do is for the mortises at this end. So we want a pair of mortises like so. We can mark the first mortise. Whilst we've got the fence set, we could mark for the tenons. So I'll just mark for the tenons down here. Now I'm not intending on doing through tenons here, but if I was, then I'd mark the back side of the mortise at this point as well. So I'd be marking here. Now I'm ready to mark the second mortise. So I need to reset the fence, mortise chisel the other side, which was the gap that we've left here, and set the fence up to that mark. It's not critical, and because this is going to be a stub mortise and tenon, we won't be able to see when the joint is together where those tenons are. But certainly if we were doing a through twin mortise and tenon, on the back side you'd see them coming through, and it would be nice to make your layout the same for each tenon. So now I can mark for that mortise. And now also mark for that tenon. Now with a tri-square and a marking knife I can mark the ends of the mortises, and as normal I'll just mark a line about 1/8 of an inch in from the end as an initial working line to protect the ends. With the work clamped firmly to the bench, I can now chop those mortises as normal. So with both mortises now chopped, we can turn our attention to the tenons. I'll measure the depth of the mortises now, find the shallowest point, and that's roughly 33 millimeters. So If we prepare our tenons at about 31mm, that should give us plenty of room for glue at the end, but also plenty of glue surface area on the sides. Just remember when you're doing this, because we've got more than just the 2 cuts, we need to make sure we just remove the bits that we actually want to remove, and we stay on the right side of the knife line for all our cuts. And now just cut those down to full depth, down to the knife line, front and back. Now I can knife the shoulder lines, make a little channel for my saw, and just cut the waste away. So now we can just clean up to our knife lines using a chisel and paring away the rest of the waste. To tackle the outside cheeks, we can use the router plate. Cleaning up the faces on the inside of the joint is a little trickier, but we'll use just bevel edge chisels. We'll level that in with our marking line, reference the back of the chisel off the vise and come in straight across. Now at this point I'll cut my component in half and we can do the final fit of the tenons into the mortises. And it's just a little bit too snug. Testing with the stock of a tri-square, you can look for any slight highs that there might be on the surfaces inside your joint. When you think you're there, just clean up right into the inside corners, because they often are the areas where you'll have just a little bit left over, which will jam you up as you try to push the joint home the last little bit. And with a wide chisel, just run right down into the base of the joint, just to check you've removed all the waste. And eventually your joint will go home nice and tight like that. Gluing up a twin mortise and tenon, there's a lot of glue area to cover, so we want to be reasonably quick doing it. I like to put the majority of the glue in the mortise. that will get pushed down the sides, the cheeks of the joint, as we push the joint together. Bit of glue on the tenon cheeks, not too much because it'll just get squeezed up as we push the joint home. Majority of the glue I've left. So I'll show you here, the majority of the glue I've left at the tops of the mortises, and that will be spread down as I push the tenons in. And then I'll clamp across the side of the joint, across the mortises, and also to keep the two components together from this end to this back face. And we'll leave that to dry for an hour or so. And here's the finished joint, and I'm very pleased with that. Lovely and square, tight joint lines all around it, flush on the edges, a Stub twin mortise and tenon joint. Give it a go. Look after yourselves and don't forget to subscribe to see videos every day during the COVID-19 problems.